All right, welcome to lesson 58, H Radio 223. This is our new section or subsection in radio broadcasting, which has to do with promotions and building those cum numbers up, right? That's so cumulative listening, which you've learned about in the beginning of the year. When we've obviously tackled the RAMs and how they obviously work out, or how they work, should I say. So we're going to be looking at that executions, some strategies as well. There's a little bit of a link that you can so long as well look at, but we will be clicking and looking at that, I think, at the end of the lesson, right? As you can see, very short, just about 6 slides here. And I'm not going to waste any more time. All right. Okay. So let's start with the basics, and which is what is a radio promotion. Again, I'm going to read and then I'll obviously reflect on what it is that we're talking about, right? Just as a little bit of an intro, and a little bit of a welcome to the segment or this particular lesson. When we think about promotions, well, what is a promotion just in general? Well, if you listen to the radio, which you do, I know that you do, you have at some point in your life, we're looking at those situations or times in a show segments that are competitions that might be once off or not necessarily called promotions. Promotions are something that are a little bit more long running. They have a bit more of a larger lifespan. They are a bit more of a wild beast in nature. So they've got different avenues of activation. So it might be on air. There's definitely, when I say might be, there might also be a digital component to it, and which we have to obviously align with its marketing strategy and what it is that we have to do. It's a beast because, and a wild animal, a beast, right? Because I say that it's not just about how you present that on air. So the DJ or the broadcaster that's now going to run and execute that competition or promo, but there's all the cogs that have been working so very hard to get it to the place that it is where it is on air with you in the final quote unquote stage, right? So, for example, our sales team, our PR team, our marketing team, we might have some managers involved there. We definitely have our clients involved in there. We have the entire processes that are involved in each one of those departments that do come together as a cohesive unit to make this one single small little promotion, like I say, small in the bigger scheme of things, happen, right? So it's really important to be a team player. When I say a team player, you've got to deliver whichever role you are playing. You might not want to be a broadcaster, right? But you might be part of production, right? And the production staff, our producer is in charge of obviously organizing those listeners, organizing obviously the way that we are, let's say getting content from online. Maybe there are entries there that we have to, sift through. There could be WhatsApp voice notes. There could be, just normal text entries. It doesn't really matter, right? But then we also have to go put them to air. Also have to do the follow up. I say production, which is, let's say capturing their details on our, obviously our systems, our internal systems, and then the entire follow through. So once again, be part of that cohesive unit as a whole, that living animal that a promotion actually is. Okay, so let's then go into the lesson. They are creative forms of self promotion, right? That you can use to make your radio more popular with listeners. If we look at the concept of a competition and a promotion, is it necessary to have on radio? Well, actually, it doesn't increase your listenership at all, which you might have heard before, right? It won't bring listeners to your radio station. They might hear about it if it's really big and it's got lots of prizes, cars, houses, whatever it is. They'll come in and be like, I really want a car and a house for free if I can just enter this competition in whichever way I can. But the thing is, as soon as that competition is over, that listener that was previously listening to another station will just go back to that station because once again, it's about suiting a lifestyle. But in general, like promotions and competitions do not draw listeners and do not increase our cues, right? I mean, our external, it's our advanced, I mean, an advancement of, we don't get a big listenership, is what I'm trying to say. But are they necessary? Yes. Yeah, we really need it because we have to reward our listener for being a listener, being loyal, and being part of our small little club, right? Our radio club, our station club. Okay, so it is very important. It is mandatory. It's necessary for like competition promos, a station to have any kind of way to reward, once again, the fact that you are tuned in and you've chosen to be here. For example, holding a last person touching car contest, right? Where the last person left touching wins a car. That's great. So it's also a bit of a spectacle. So you have a number of people with their hands out and obviously touching the car, and this will obviously carry on for quite some time. And so people are just going to be like, look, I mean, I've got babies to feed, or got to go work, or listen, my hands are tired, or whatever it is. And I'm not gonna. It's been 3 days. I don't know. I need to go have a bath, or a poop, whatever. I don't know. Right? There's a reasoning why there'll be a last person standing, and that's quite a popular, very easy promotion. It's a spectacle once again. People remember it. If you're going to view it, you're also going to see some kind of, there's going to be, some activity around it. There'll be obviously radio hosts that are, doing an outside broadcast around it, definitely with the sponsor involved there. Some things that happen off air, fun stuff, whatever it is, to make the entire promotion come alive. Also called promos, giveaways, or contests. They will help grow your audience's loyalty. That's the thing. And also, the thing is, when we, again, I want to make this very clear. When we increase audiences, we're talking about the same demographic and the same, so our same SEM, right? The demographic that we have will grow. So the same people or type of people that are listening to our station, there'll be more of those. So the way that we obviously playlist music, and the way we have great content and great presenters and always that we increase our numbers. So please note when I said before still stands. We're not going to draw people from other stations that are dedicated there as P1 listeners, even P2 listeners, right? Okay. But we want to draw more people like our own audience to choose that station, our station, right? Okay. So just note that. Let's look at the steps for creating a radio promotion. Number one, you got to come up with an idea, research previous promotions done, so lessons learned, things that good project management is always about, going to go look at, say, documentation that has been filed on previous lessons learned. Why are previous promotions important? Because we also know whether they did work, how well they worked, and which elements of them we want to kind of revisit and kind of reshape, and then also know exactly, what and how and where and when and whatever it is, and to who we want to be able to, construct this new idea or fresher idea, maybe revisit even an old one and kind of bring that back to be a bit more relevant to what we are currently doing. Might want to also just bring back just the digital aspect of it, or just the online or on air, should I say, aspect, right? Put your unique twist to previous ideas and generate fresh, fun, and engaging promos, right? So they kind of tried tested thing that I have mentioned before, where there's some justification in using tried and tested ideas, stuff that's worked before. Stations around the world constantly use promos that they just rehash and then just revive, because they've worked so many times before and the people just love them as well. And so the thing is that the more people love them, the more people are tuned in, the more people that engage, the more people that enter. The sponsors really happy. They are getting obviously a draw to whatever it is that you're linking this particular competition promo to their current, let's say they've got obviously a marketing strategy currently, maybe to promote new product or service, a rebranding of their own, whatever it may be, right? The whole point why someone is going to partner up with you is because they have that kind of marketing alternative or ulterior motive, right? That is super important for you to include in your activation slash your promotion, right? You can also think about what people actually need. So, and what they want to accomplish. What we do need is we need money, right? Everyone needs money. So it's always the easiest place to start. And people can do whatever they want for money. Like you don't have to be a specific age with it. You don't have to, have to fly somewhere else to go and get it. I'm saying so in terms of an experience, it's more difficult. It kind of closes off a little bit more of that potential market who wants to, let's say, enter or be part of this activation. Saying like I've used previous examples, flying over like to the States to go watch the Grammys. Again, people work, they don't have passports, they might have passports already. Um, it just might not, they might be ill, whatever it may be, it might not be able to take part in an experience, but can and will use money and will welcome that, right? But we can also look at, let's say, for example, like I don't know, revamp of your house, right? Buying you or giving you, what is it like, whatever it is, stuff for your house, like couches and fridges, and let's put in a new stove for you, or let's give you the really expensive, you know, bed mattress. I don't know, right? It doesn't matter, right? um, we can look at what people need in the everyday. Let's give you like unlimited petrol for the next, I don't know, next year or so. Let's give you a new car. As you said, people need cars, what you want to accomplish. So maybe it could be, once again, like maybe I want to go and maybe I want to learn about something. So I want to go study. I'm going to give you like a full bursary, to go study or whatever you want, wherever you want, and it's all on me, quote unquote, the station, right? So here's an example about what your listeners need. Not everyone can afford Christmas presents, agree? So that's a great place to start. We know obviously that is very popular, like on 947 and Jacaranda. That type of activation, very popular. It's very old. It doesn't matter. Like helping people can never get old, and it's never old to listen to. We love listening to people being happy, getting tearful, getting emotional, and the presenters also being vested in it, changing their lives is great, right? Relevant radio promotion might involve asking listeners to share reasons why they can't afford presents this holiday season. Then create a content or contest, should I say, where the winner walks away with a shopping voucher. Secondly, you can also use promos to accomplish goals, right? So so once again, we can utilize this particular. I know it sounds because it sounds a little bit clinical, and unfortunately, we do have to. For example, like in a promotion like this, we have to measure our emotions as the people that are coming up with the contest because we still have to pick certain people. Many people will enter. Want you to think of what happens in the background, like in the back end, to get that one particular person per day or per week or whatever it is to win the prize, right? Don't think that other people don't have problems too, right? And real problems. So the thing is that you got to also be pragmatic about how you do that. Also be able to detach that kind of sense of your own persona and personality and being a person or a human being, so that you do not get overflowed, drowning in thoughts, emotions, and guilt, basically as well. Sidebar, just as a note to note how much emotion can get involved in creating a certain activation, right? But anyway, okay. Secondly, you want to use those promos to accomplish whatever goals it is that ideally promotes like the sponsor that you are with, right? Or that is giving you all this cash, right? You want to promote your radio app. So, for example, offer listeners who download and use the app a chance to win money or other prizes, right? Like one, they probably will download it anyway, regardless. Like if they are a loyal listener and they are like, okay, cool. Like I'd like to. I mean, I stream stuff all the time. It is also just in terms of a frequency thing. Like it's just easier to stream stuff. We don't have that kind of white noise, that interruption, whatever it is, when we're moving up and down. I don't know, certain, any commutes. You understand? Obviously, it's not going to be a straight road through mountains, etc. Right? Okay, and so the things that might already be there, but things we want to also be able to, once again, if we're going to be doing digital advertising and host, let's say, sponsors on there or clients on there, like we need to have a certain amount of users that do download and also continuously use that app, so that we can sell that kind of advertising as well. To get more links and comments on social media, create a post and reward people who share the post on their public profile or tag a number of their friends. So that's the tagging a number of friends is super annoying. I mean, like I because you're irritating someone else's life. I get that this works, and a lot of people don't care because I want to win that PlayStation. 5, or I want to win like the new Xbox, or I want to win, like I say, a trip around the world, whatever it may be. So like I at least have three people I know that I can tag, and they will obviously enter, and they will tag. That is obviously intention. It's not going to be endless, but it will have a certain stoppage point either at the closing date, or well, when people there's just enough people have been tagged, right, from each and every other person that has been involved, right? But it's a very common kind of like executional mechanism that is used there, and sharing the posts is easy. What's kind of annoying, just as a sidebar note, is when you have to kind of share that your story, right? Like on Instagram, which only lasts a certain, obviously, it lasts a certain amount of time, so it's limited, kind of disappears. But it's also quite annoying to share this odd thing, but have to add tag 3 or 4 or 5 people because you have tagging the station. You have to add tag all the sponsors that are involved as well. Try to remember that when you are doing a social media aspect of this activation, right? Please keep it simple and more enticing, right? I'm telling you the stuff that really irritates me when I do those particular, I do enter those particular competitions, especially on Instagram, right? Where it's it's a bit of a hassle, at the end of the day. Anyway, put a plan in place. So put a plan in place to execute your idea. So if Christmas is 3 months away, make sure that you do not start then. Like let's say end of November, you only have 25 days anyway till Christmas, and then that spirit is kind of gone as well. So you obviously have to have enough time to find the right people, the right sponsors, the right solutions, and the right obviously slick activation across again, not only online, but obviously on air, right? Brainstorm great topics even months before you create the actual promo, right? So this is also the stage to think about sponsors. So who is well suited for? Most stations can make most sponsors work for any type of activation. So you're gonna have very creative people in the marketing department, PR and sales that will somehow find a way to make First for Women work for maybe a festive, I'm going to say a festive, not necessarily a Christmas one, but a festive situation, right? And we can have both men and women, into that competition, depending on how it is that we want to angle it, right? We can go to Outsurance, we can go to Pick and Pay, we can go to like a Hyundai, we can go to any pretty much a large amount of partners, right? Product services, and be able to somehow, whatever their tagline is, whatever their current, like I said, marketing strategy, their current new products or specials, or whatever it is that's happening, like we can tie that in a very clever and a very creative way to what it is that we would like to do on air. For example, you can partner with a winning wine store to create a radio series about wine. Then at the end of the series, a lucky listener may win a year's supply of free wine. Nice idea. A lot of people enter and people love some wine, right? Okay. So as you plan, consider the mechanics of the radio promotions. So one, how will the listeners participate? I just went through the rigmarole of how irritating something on social media when it's not thought out properly. It's conveniently very easy. Rather just leave your name, rather leave a hashtag, rather leave an answer like in the comments section. Don't be that person that pushes unless it is necessary. Maybe your client does want you to push it in that particular way, and you're going to have to maybe just kind of polish a little bit more how that whole sharing and tagging other people, right? Might be, you know, might be something that you want to not really, you look at focus groups, you look at listener behavior, you look at their digital behavior, their online behavior, and it will dictate to you otherwise, right? Call it as you see it. How or who will select the winners, right? It has to be a fair process, man. So there cannot be any favoritism. There cannot be any kind of like quality control when I'm saying like one person. You mustn't ask questions of like, tell us your funniest joke, right? You are allowed to do that only as an entry mechanism, but selecting the winner has to be something that is done on a system separate that randomly will select a winner that has entered according, let's say we'll give them numbers, and then we'll enter that and pick, like it'll randomly pick number 55. We'll document that so that obviously we don't get in trouble when we do submit that over, or let's say in terms of being in line with the Competitions Act. So let's say if a winner is selected, other listeners have a problem with it or whatever it is, the way that's done. And you're not allowed, obviously, also picking someone that like the rules, T's and C's that we've done before in previous years about how to run a competition, and obviously the ethics that are involved, and you can get into, again, a lot of trouble, man, as a station. So that type of thing of selecting the winners has to be something that's very clinical and cannot be anything that you're choosing, quote unquote, right? You can kind of craft a way of I would say like I say, creative seduction on how you can get maybe finalists. That's allowed, right? But the final one is you're not allowed selecting out of your own opinion or your own input. Okay. All right. Anyway, what are the contest rules? Must be clearly stated. You must be very, very, very concise, and you must cover everything, right? Make sure that accountability exists where it does exist and where it is also passed over, it is handed over to other certain bodies, or it's you're abdicating from it. Are prizes transferable? So in other words, say if I get a holiday, can I transfer it? Can I ask for the cash instead? No, 10 to 1 normally you can't. So is the contest open to only one member per household? Can anyone enter? Can they enter many times? Document your plan of action, and over the coming months or weeks, hold meetings to discuss and work on your radio promo. Obviously, flesh out like how the competition will be run. And so you can again see, oh, we're going to run into a problem here. Oh, no, we need this type of audio. Oh, no, like we need to do this at least twice, like in every single show. And we might only have to do it, I'm saying the actual execution in the lunch, maybe the drive, and then also the breakfast show. Or it might only be a nighttime promotion. Or this will work really nicely if we do it, across the day, all over, give a couple of hints across different things, and then randomly pick executions where we do call a listener so that we want to increase that time spent listening, that possibility. We obviously have a number of different ways that we can, quote unquote, trick the audience into listening longer and staying by their phone, staying by their when I say phones, also to pick up the phone, but also to stream whatever the device they're using to stream the station itself. Okay. Create and deploy. So right before you run your promo, it's a good idea to get everyone on board. Definitely you don't, and especially client to station, right? Must have an understanding before you go to air so that the client listens, and what they listen is what they're expecting. So they do not have any complaints. You don't have any kind of refunds. You don't, because you are going to get to a point where you have to, at the end of it, do like a post-mortem situation, right? What happened? Like, what can we refund to the client as well? Because in terms of return on investment, what did we promise them? Maybe also just in terms of like how their money is being spent, and I don't know, maybe DJs missed something, maybe they didn't execute something, maybe a live read wasn't executed, or maybe wasn't a live promo wasn't included by, I don't know, maybe the traffic department, the sales traffic department, by the way, right? Okay. Test out the delivery before you go out on air. Last slide here. What makes enjoying engaging radio? Emotivity, right, is the main driver of a listener's engagement. So, what do we feel, man? What are we feeling? Are we feeling excited, sad, angry, this, that, whatever it is, desperate, right? We hold a listener's attention when they are emotionally connected to a piece of content. We're talking about helping a community. We're talking about helping you today. We know that your kids need school funding. We know that you're looking for a way to pay for your debt, your credit card debt, whatever it is. Like, people are like, yes, yes, please, give me more. I want to know. Different listeners react emotionally to different types of content, depending on where you are currently today. You'll worry about, or you'll need different things. But there's a lot of us that need the same things at different times, I say, of the year, month, week, day, right? So you'll obviously have a lot of people that need the same thing, right? But not everyone. One study was conducted by the Emotional Intelligence Agency, an internet and data strategy company, that says in order for radio stations to obtain this share of emotion, you need to use the following four kinds of emotional or emotionally compelling content: fun or funny, right? It has got to be useful, like so pragmatic. It could be very beautiful, right? Nicely constructed, quite breathtaking to listen to as well. Or it could be inspiring, right? You could use all of them. You could use some of them. You could use one of them. It will work. All right. I want to quickly jump into this. I'm going to share that screen and just quickly do. I think there we go. I'm going to stop this. It's just going to open up. Don't open. Hold on for me. Just want to jump to my Chrome. Yeah. And let's see what just pops up here. How to plan radio promotions with some examples. So again, coming up with the idea. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm sorry, all the details, right? So you can pretty much see that a lot of the content that we've covered, right, in the lesson comes from this particular, and if not everything, comes from this particular um, this particular article, right? Right, and there's an example of a contest right there. I'm not going to play the entire thing out because it's 25 minutes long, but you're more than welcome to go listen to it. And maybe also give me your feedback or your own feedback. Go analyze this and see what was effective about it. Like, what was creative about it? What was the prize was the correct prize in terms of like, was it practical? Was it pragmatic? Like you say, whatever it is, go and have a listen to that, right? It says in 60 seconds, Jack McCoy will tell listeners what each package contains. For instance, prize package 158 had a 1972 256 GT Dyna Ferrari. That's crazy. Anyway, so first time I'm seeing this, so that's crazy. Oh, brand new Santana sailing yacht. Holy, wow. The prize package 201 included flying lessons, a helicopter, oh, in a helicopter, I'm sure, or in a plane. Oh my word, $87 million. That's insane. So it's obviously a great. Uh, that's a great competition. What a baby. Okay, so I'm sure it's not what you think it is, or what we both are thinking right now. To win, couples had to explain 100 words or in 100 words or less why they deserved to win a baby. It generated lots of buzz around the world with some controversy. Those against radio content argued that this was outright unethical. They weren't giving out a baby per se. The lucky couple could get $35,000 worth of fertility treatments. But when you say win a baby, like it already gets people's attention. They're like, what? Giving up a child? We're spitting one out like, boss baby. Anyway, okay, I'm going to end it on that. Hope you learned something. And let me just stop the share there. Have a great day ahead.